Welcome to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast.
My name is Jen Clark.
And I'm Elka Clark. We are a mother-daughter team who started our Zazzle e-commerce businesses over 10 years ago and have sold over $15 million worth and counting of products on Zazzle with our designs on them.
We had so many people asking us how we did this, so we created the Profit by Design Academy, a 12-month coaching program where you will implement the 5 strategies we have used for success on Zazzle.
When we aren't coaching our amazing clients to reach millions in sales on Zazzle, we love cooking food from places all over the world that we've traveled to, jet setting to our next dream destination, spending quality time with our close friends and family, or having fun creating our next bestsellers in our own Zazzle businesses.
In this podcast, we share actionable steps you can take to make money in your online business using Zazzle. Each episode will take you one step closer to creating that perfect business, which will give you the freedom to live your dream life.
We believe that you can have anything you dream of as long as you work smarter, not harder. We're here to give you the tools you need to make your dream life happen. So let's get started. Well, hey there, it's Elka.
And Jen, and welcome to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast. And today's episode, we are talking about how Minted and Zazzle compare and the pros and cons, or the positives and negatives of both of them.
It's going to be an exciting ride. A lot of our clients who have switched over from Minted to Zazzle have done so because of some of the cons that we're going to talk about with regards to the Minted platform, even though they've done really, really well in the Minted space. And so maybe you're in that space right now, or you're wondering what is even Minted. So either way, this is going to be really relevant to you, because maybe you'll actually add Minted to your repertoire of things that you're going to use in the online space to create your online business. But if you're on Minted and you're feeling some of these issues that are negative and you kind of want to go I need a break, then maybe today's episode is just going to resonate with you so much. And we're here to help you transition to Zazzle if that's what you want to do, like we are for some of our clients. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's get started in the talking about Minted compared to Zazzle. Minted is considered also a print-on-demand platform in a way that basically everyone as a customer sees the products first digitally on their e-commerce space as a marketplace, etc. And then once they order, the customer actually gets the product made for them through the Minted resources. And that's the same with the Zazzle platform. With our series that we've done, this is the last of our series of 5 episodes where we've talked about Zazzle versus something else. And so even though it's not considered a print-on-demand company per se, for some reason they've positioned themselves a little bit differently in terms of being more of a stationery and art store. Minted has really the same properties as Zazzle, which is a print-on-demand e-commerce space. Okay, and both customers can obviously buy things, but from us and for you as a person who wants to create an online business, it's another print-on-demand opportunity that we are going to compare today so that you get the ins and outs of whether or not you want to join that or both Zazzle and Minted. All right, so let's go into the pros and cons of Minted versus Zazzle.
Okay, so the first one is that it is a passive model of income, right? It's a POD business, so that's a check mark for Minted and also a pro. The ease of use for Minted is also one of the pros because you create the items with a specification, and then once you create that item, you can become familiar with the process of how you design the other products, because Minted is much more of a stationery and also artwork based platform. And then so it allows you to see your designs to be seen in different colorways and then orientations as well, all in one product suite. It's really cool because if you ever go into the Minted platform, you can see how interactive it is with the customer in mind, right? Where they have the different versions, and actually even the in situ, I think sometimes they even rotate, or you see the shimmer of the gold foil, etc. And so it's really the ease of use for the customer, and also the designer is really, really easy, let's say.
Yeah, it's easy in the sense that for the customer, as Jen said, but the designer, they will get certain specifications as to how they have to create the Illustrator files or the Photoshop files so that they can upload and provide all of those views, etc., that the customer just sees all in one when they've clicked on, let's say, an invitation. They'll see like the front, the back, the sides, the different orientations, the different colorways, etc. And so once you get the hang of that you have to create so many different variations and in situ, pieces, then it'll be easy. But up until then, it's not that great. But for the customer, it's amazing.
And so the next one is customization. So you are able to customize for the customer. So you're able to create these templates on Minted, and the customer will be able to go in and, just like Zazzle, customize the photo and the text templates. And so you're able to provide that service to the customer, which is really wonderful because not all print-on-demand platforms offer this. And if you've been listening to our podcast series in the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about all these different print-on-demand platforms, and most of them, if not all, except maybe Etsy that we talked about, that is personalization and customization, but you physically have to do that. All of them don't allow customization on the actual platform. So Minted is within the Zazzle realm in terms of customization, and the closest, let's say, cousin to a Zazzle in terms of that. So yeah.
But they can only customize like to replace.
Yeah.
Right? So the text templates or the photo templates have to be set up, and then it's just switch it out, or they can also switch between maybe colored backgrounds if that's been set up that way, but it's not as versatile a customization as the Zazzle platform, but it's the beginnings.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on now to let's say the negatives of what Minted offers the designer or the maker. So the cost, first of all, and if you want to actually
should I do this
on
one?
that, yeah, because you
Okay, so in terms of like the cost of entry into that space in Minted so that you can become a seller, there's a lot of labor involved. So not that you have to pay a fee or anything, but you have to jump through some hoops. And these hoops are challenges. So every so often, Minted will have various design contests, during which time they will provide specific instructions as to what they want. So you also have to be very structured in terms of, you can't just design anything like you can on Zazzle anytime. Instead, you have to design what Minted wants. And the very specific specifications are set out. And if you don't follow them, you're disqualified from the contest. And then obviously everyone else is trying to win this contest as well. And they usually pick like a top winner and then a couple of runner-ups. And so that has to be something that you want to be willing to do all the time. And also you have to take your chances that you may have spent all of this time and not get chosen. And if you're not chosen, then you can't sell your designs on Minted. Then if you do get that design chosen, then it can only be sold on Minted. It can't be sold anywhere else. So we don't like that. But that's, again, the cost of doing business. So it's restricted in that regard to only selling on the Minted platform. So if your design's amazing, unless Minted does a really good job of promoting it and selling it, you may not get your dollars back in terms of that. So it's like almost like a cost as a loss rather than a cost as a layout cost. And also the cost is your time. So you may enter several competitions before you even get something. But then once you do get, and I don't know if we want to do that now or later, but we'll talk later about the payouts. Let's do that. Did I miss anything there in terms of anything else that I was supposed to do? Yeah, but if you do receive the go-ahead that you've been one of the top choices or a runner-up, then at least at that point you can open up a store there. And you can sell not only the one design that you got accepted for, but you can sell other designs. And so we don't know a lot more about the restrictions for other designs. There wasn't anything really available because we haven't actually been on Minted. So I just want to let you know about that. Full disclosure. But in terms of people who have been on Minted that we are doing in terms of we're really helping with one-on-one coaching and like our high-end Zazzle earner clients. When they were there on Minted, that's kind of the run of the mill. Like it was sort of as if they were on a hamster wheel. They were always trying to compete, always trying to get back in, always trying to get their designs. And so that cost them a lot of stress and overwhelmed, having to consistently perform in order to stay active in the Minted marketplace. So that was the cost that they didn't want to keep paying. And the Zazzle seemed a lot more easier for them just to do what they want when they need to and at their own pace. Okay.
Okay. So the next one is the number of potential customers. So in terms of every other platform that we've talked about so far within these podcast series, Minted is actually on the lower scale. And so according to similarweb.com, which we will post the link in the description of this episode on YouTube or in the show notes for the podcast, there are about 787,000 visitors a month. And so if you've listened to the other episodes, we have spoken about millions of visitors every single month. And Zazzle actually has 17.5 million users or visitors every single month. So in terms of the ratio, Zazzle actually gets about 22 times more traffic than Minted. And so that's a very big, let's say, con in our books, because there is not as much traffic who's coming to the platform. And so therefore you're not getting as many eyeballs, as we like to say, on your products, right? However, coming from that is that Minted is a very much more, let's say, prestigious, like high-end quality. It's weird, but if you are in our realm within print on demand, you know what I'm talking about. When everybody says the word Minted, it's like, oh, it's the luxury one. So the people who go to Minted, when they are there, they're more likely to convert, let's say,
and spend a lot more money.
So you will probably get more. And as I said, we can never make income claim statements, but the type of person who goes to Minted, they are looking for that high-end, luxurious quality and attention to detail, and that precise, design, modern design, and through the artists who won the competitions. So they're willing to spend more money on the invitations and or the artwork, because they know that they're getting, let's say, that higher quality, or that feeling of having that luxuriousness, right? Mm-hmm. So even though it is considered a con, there might be more of a return rate in terms of the ratio of how many people come versus how many people buy and how much money they spend. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay, so let's keep going with earnings potential then. So artists, as I mentioned, they have to actually put in their designs, and it's only once they make the cut in terms of being selected in the competitions that they're able to sell those designs on the Minted platform, and they will earn somewhere between 3 to 6% commission on those sales from whatever they make in terms of sales while the products fly or the design is live. Contest also sometimes gives out rewards, but the dollar values can vary. So sometimes you can earn about $100 for your first place position, and sometimes you can earn $3,500. So it depends on where where they've positioned the competition, and that'll be all explained when you sign up and you get all the information as to what the prizes are for each of the competitions they hold. But in the meantime, the 3 to 6%, again, as Jen said, would have to be made up in volume, because Zazzle definitely outpaces the Minted commission structure, because you can set your royalty at anything from 5 to 99%, and ours and somewhere between 10 to 15, and we highly recommend 10. But even then, it's already 4% more than what the Minted option is in terms of payouts. So it's important to remember that even though it might seem cool to win $3,500 and that's an easy payout, it could be that you be a winner in the contest, but maybe nothing sells. Or if it's, then you have to sell in a lot of volume in order to make up what you might, originally sell it for. If you sell the same amount on either platform, you're obviously going to get more money when you sell on Zazzle because of this commission structure.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard about the Profit by Design Academy yet?
Are you looking for the perfect online business or side hustle that gives you monthly cash flow so you can live your dream life?
Are you a new or current Zazzle creator who is struggling to figure out how to make Zazzle work for you, worried that you're wasting your time and using the throw spaghetti against the wall to see if it sticks trick method, and unsure about how you can start and scale your Zazzle business?
Then the Profit by Design Academy is a perfect solution for you. You will feel confident, supported, and clear on how you will create a financial abundance side hustle using the Zazzle marketplace.
Imagine having access to the exact 5 strategies that we've used to build our Zazzle business and scale it, which we have sold over $15 million worth of Zazzle products so far with that method.
And that's not just us. We've helped our coaching clients in the Profit by Design Academy sell over $30 million worth of Zazzle products combined.
We invite you to join this incredible coaching experience where you receive the proven roadmap and hands-on support to accelerate your Zazzle business and make your dream of achieving passive income a reality.
Head on over to the show notes to grab the link, and we will see you on the inside. Or go to elkaclark.com/start-and-scale.
Now let's get back to the show.
Okay, and the one other thing that we want to focus on, and I think I already said it, is that if you get a design approved on the Minted platform, you can't sell it anywhere else. You can sell variations, but you can't sell the exact same design. Basically, Minted now has that as a copyright, even though they're still paying you your royalties. Minted owns your design, and so I don't know if you like that. If I don't like that, I'd prefer to be able to be more flexible and open and not have to just concede to Minted to selling that design.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what else should we talk
the next
about?
one
Product availability.
Product availability. So in terms of the products that are available on the Minted platform, there are many more product types than some other print-on-demand platforms, let's say. However, there's still not as many as Etsy. And when you go to Minted,
Zazzle.
I said Etsy, I meant to say Zazzle. But when you go into the Minted platform, you'll mostly see, let's say, artwork and invitations.
Yeah.
Right? So it's much more, it's like stationery and artwork. It doesn't provide, those 1,500 products that Zazzle has, where it's like anything from clothing and accessories to mugs and, keychains and business cards, etc. So there's a whole bunch of things that Minted is not providing you. However, as we mentioned, it's more that prestigious, like high-end artwork. It's almost like going into an art gallery, let's say, in terms of, seeing what they offer. And then the invitations, obviously, where it's very much occasion-based. Yeah.
Yeah, and Zazzle has that too in terms of occasions. What products that Zazzle doesn't have that Minted has are all the pieces where it's embossed. Then there's also a bit of a change with the difference between the foil. So Minted is more of a true foil printing process where there's only one or two types of products that Zazzle has that are proper foil printed products. And also that Zazzle doesn't have embossing.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, Zazzle has a wonderful selection of paper types. It has all kinds of different envelopes. There might be some more fancier and matching type envelopes for the Minted customer, but in itself, I think there's a good comparison. So that Zazzle could hold its own with regards to the stationery, for example, whereas Minted just has a little bit, as Jen said, a little bit more refined options with more bits and pieces that are unique and different in terms of how the types of paper to print on and how the paper's set up and some of the elegant features. That's something that we're always hoping that Zazzle will add to the whole pile of options that we have as Zazzle designers. But in the meantime, 90% of the people are basically satisfied with whatever Zazzle has, and it's usually also a really great price point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, next type of market.
The type of market or niche that's attracted on the Minted platform. So we've said it a little bit here and there, but stationery, photos, arts, like graphic art, artwork, home decor, anything that is more or less like art and also stationery based.
Yeah, and they're branching out, and it's kind of odd. There's a bunch of weird, choices of products. Like they'll have calendars and then they'll have tote bags, but they won't have anything else. So they're just trying new things in Minted to see where else they can move into, but definitely some home decor, which fits really nicely with their artwork, and then this whole wide range of stationery products. But as you move through, like if you were to be part of it now and then you maybe a year from now or so on, you might see more products, which is obviously where it should be going in terms of the direction of any of the companies, is always to provide more product base so that all of the designers can add them to different products and sell more.
Mm-hmm.
So okay.
So then the next one is design versatility. So that means how are you able to use the designs on the actual platform? So this one here for Minted is limited because all the designs are curated and accepted via the competitions, right?
Which is strange because initially, and then when you have your own store, they let you put up products that aren't curated, but for the most part, you want to put up the curated products and that's it, because if you put up any other products, again, you're limited. If you put them up in your store on Minted, they can't be sold anywhere else. So what a lot of Minted designers do is that they put up only the ones that have been already chosen in the competition. So therefore, they know for a fact that they're going to sell on Minted. And then anything else is kind of like, if you ever go into some of these stores, there's such a difference between the quality of what was actually chosen and won a design contest, and anything that they also have in their store. And usually it's not very many products and many designs, because, that's not a good business model, right? If it's not proven, why would you give Minted their 100% ownership of the copyright? Rather put it on some other platform where you can possibly make more money. Okay, so that's kind of the one thing I don't like about Minted, even though there's so many advantages in terms of, the other pieces that we've been talking about. Okay.
And the last one is production efficiency. So in terms of like how effective the product is. So you cannot decide when to do the work. It's always based on the actual season. So in terms of when you are posting your products for sale, there's competitions or there's certain time frames where Minted will say, okay, this is where you have to start designing X, Y, and Z for the upcoming season or whatever, or the competition schedule. And you can't post as many designs as you want. You have to post a certain amount. So you have very many limitations in terms of when you're posting products and then how many. Versus Zazzle, you can decide to start posting, like it's in the middle of April right now. If you really wanted to, even though we don't advise it, you could start posting products for Christmas, right? And you don't have to worry about your production schedule. You can do it on your own terms and make as many products as you want. You don't have to be set to a certain schedule. We do advise that, though, in our Profit by Design Academy, because there is some sort of algorithm in the marketplace that you don't want to post products too early, because then they'll get lost. And you're obviously treating your Zazzle business as a business, so you need to be up to date and upkeep with those season changes. But within the Minted marketplace and the Minted platform, you're very restricted, and so you're not able to have that flexibility as you are in the Zazzle marketplace.
Right. And also 100% of whatever you post up for sale is your copyright, and you continue to own it, and you can put it on as many other platforms as you want, which is the big thing for me again with Minted, is that they start to own your property. Even though they'll pay you royalty for it, they want exclusivity, which Zazzle doesn't ask for.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it's true. And I was just gonna jump in and say Zazzle, because I don't know if you said the word Zazzle in that sentence, but on Zazzle you own all of the designs it's your copyright. So on Zazzle you are allowed to use that design on Zazzle and also use that design on a different platform. Minted constricts you and says that you have to only keep that design on the Minted platform, and you're not allowed to sell it anywhere else, and Minted takes over the copyright of those.
Yeah, they'll pay for it, but it's basically then their copyright, and they want you to stay on that platform. The design is now theirs, so to speak. Okay, so that's the comparison, and I think, do you want to go over the review of just what?
Sure, so we'll quickly go over. So the Minted negatives in terms of what we covered in this podcast are that it has Zazzle has 22 times more traffic, so at 17.5 million or 17 million views versus the 787,000 views, so 22 times more traffic per month. Then in terms of the royalties on Minted, it's fixed at 3 to 6% royalty plus your possible prize money. So if you win a competition, but you have to obviously use that as like fun money or extra money, because you probably won't always win the competition over and over again. So you have to be aware that it's 3 to 6%. On Zazzle, you can set your royalties between 5 and 99%. So you're very much more flexible there. Then you have no sort of incentive for like referral or volume bonus on Minted, but then on Zazzle, if you are part of the referral program and the promoter program 2.0, you can get up to 35% more if you refer your products externally and bring external traffic to the Zazzle platform. And then Zazzle has unlimited amounts of possibilities in terms of posting products for sale, while Minted has limited blank products and also limited amounts of times that you can post a product for sale, and also that constraint of the competitions or the seasons or the cycles that Minted prompts you to do, right? And then the biggest negative is that you always have to be in the constant competitions, right? We have had so many clients who have come to us and they're like, oh my goodness, I'm so relieved. Like there's that pressure, and they have to actually start designing like 6 months in advance or 4 months in advance for this competition. And it's a thing, right? It's a huge ordeal. And many of our clients, once they came over to the Zazzle platform, they were so happy, they were so relaxed, and
breath of fresh air, their shoulders went down.
yeah. So, but that's a recap of the podcast in terms of what we've covered and how Minted, obviously they're both very different platforms. And if you're on Minted, there's nothing against Minted. We love Minted. It's very much a wonderful platform. But in terms of our own personal needs for our perceivable, passive, and profitable business, in terms of our framework that we live by, Zazzle fits the bill, and Minted, unfortunately, doesn't offer the things that we need.
Exactly. We want to always stay passive, incredibly profitable, and we want to make it perceivable. And this is the perceivable is actually the one that caught us with Minted. Minted, you can't perceive a consistent long-term income with Minted because you're constantly having to prove yourself. And because of that, you can be really excited and happy that you're earning today, this year maybe, or last year, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be earning that same amount of money next year because it's always going to be changing. Whereas on Zazzle, if you set up products that are selling now and they sell really well and that they're evergreen, which is what we teach, is to make evergreen products, then you can be selling those products years from now and still making a lot of money off of them, whereas that's not something that's evident on the Minted platform. There's always looking for fresh and new. And so one of the big things to consider, and we hope that all of these points have really helped resonate with you as to what you want and that you can make that right choice for you and run a perceivable, passive, profitable business.
So thank you so much for listening to this episode or watching it on YouTube of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast with us, Jen and Elka Clark.
We hope this episode has given you actionable steps to building your online business that gives you the monthly cash flow you want while working less and living more.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Each review helps us reach more entrepreneurs like you working to create a profitable e-commerce online business.
Follow us on Instagram at Ms. Jen Clark and at Elka Clark and DM us with your biggest takeaway from today's episode. See you back here next week.